Welcome to the show. Here's why I want to put your headphones on.
Live studio audience.
It's like I'm back on a morning show. I want to do it again. CEO of Red Street.
Yeah.
Bassist from, what was that boy band you were in?
Backstreet.
Oh my God, you're the best dancer.
Yeah. Yes, Rascal Flatts.
Oh, with 2 T's.
Yes.
Like your hair at the end of this. Singer-songwriter, producer, dog food taster.
Dog food taster. I gave that up several years ago. That's I've retired from that.
Kibble?
Kibble. Once they started getting into the moister brands of dog food, it didn't sit well with me. I was having intestinal issues with it. So
my brother Sean bet me $20 when we were kids to eat a dog biscuit. You think I did it or not?
I think you did.
I did.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I enjoyed it.
That doesn't shock me at all. A dog biscuit. Was it good?
It was kind of cardboardy. It was exactly what you think it would be.
It seems to me like they would taste like dirt.
And it just tastes like nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
I don't know why the dogs get so excited about it.
I ate a worm one time.
Did you?
Yeah.
How was that?
A dare. Dirt. Tasted like dirt.
Oh, you've got to probably clean it off.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
It's hard to rinse off when they're squirming around.
Where'd you find it?
Oh, it was on the ground.
Was it?
Yeah.
Who bet you doing that?
I think it was my sister. We were playing outside in the front yard, and she was like, I bet you won't eat that worm. And I was like, yes, I will.
Don't you dare me.
Yeah.
Don't you dare Kelly Ford
awful.
to do anything.
How did we get on to worms and dog biscuits?
I'm excited to interview you alone because I want to say something about when I interviewed you many times with Rascal Flatts, and I'm sure other radio people had this experience. Really largely unairable interviews.
Yes.
And I feel like that was a goal of you guys.
I'm not gonna confirm or deny, Kelly.
I'm dead. I knew it.
We tried to make it as difficult as we could to air any interview we were part of.
Like filthy.
No.
Oh, not filthy.
No, we weren't filthy. We talked about giving your life to Jesus.
That's right.
All the time.
That's right.
What we talked about.
Well, mostly it was just like this, my podcast, our stream of consciousness, not one real thought out sentence.
You know what that says about you, though? That you're very easy to talk to, so people feel comfortable talking about a variety of different things.
You know what it said about my job? My boss was like, how did you not get one good quote from Rascal Flatts?
Well, I'm sorry about that. If I'd known you were going to get in trouble for it, I would have.
I did okay.
Yeah.
I ended up doing okay. Jay DeMarcus.
It makes me feel bad now.
Good. Because I was going to ask you, at the beginning of an interview, you want to know, what'd you have for lunch? Do you feel good? It's like when you're getting surgery, you want to make sure the anesthesiologist didn't fight with his wife the night before.
Yeah.
That your pilot isn't,
drunk.
Yeah, drunk. So you feel good?
I feel great. I just left lunch, actually.
Mm-hmm.
A great lunch at the Virgin Hotel.
Oh, what'd you have?
Had the meatball sub.
Oh.
Just part of it, though.
Tastes like worm?
No, it was great. They actually do a fine meatball sub.
Why'd you feel the need to tell me you just ate part of it? You feeling fat?
No, because I've been really trying to watch my figure lately.
I'm not lying. Yeah. When you walked in, I thought, he looks very thin.
I've lost 24 pounds.
Wow.
I have.
How?
Just hard work and dedication in the gym.
Truly?
No, Ozempic.
Stop.
Can you cut that part out?
No. No, sir. Are you on it?
Yeah, I have been.
Oh, yeah. I want to go on it real bad.
It works. For those of you out there that are wondering and that may be dealing with heavier weight situations, I'm not even sure what's politically correct to say anything.
That's
for those people that are fat.
It's nice that you're worrying about it. I see that's a change.
Yeah, it is a change for me. I'm trying to turn a new leaf over.
Because you have kids, and your kids will be like, Dad, you're canceled.
Yeah, you can't say fat, Dad. Mm-hmm. You got to say skinny challenged.
Mm-hmm.
But those that have questions about it, it really does work. You'll lose a bunch of weight in a couple months, and it's really healthy. The side effects are minimal. I've got another foot growing out of the side of my ankle.
Which
but,
can be costly for shoes.
I'm going to try to work with it and see if it benefits me in some way.
Wouldn't that be great in the Ozempic side effects? Is that heart palpitations, extra feet.
Extra feet.
Mm-hmm.
If you experience extra feet, go to the emergency room immediately.
Did you consciously have to say, I'm not going to eat the meatball sub, or you're just like, I'm done?
It's the weird thing. It curbs your appetite, so it makes you feel full all the time. And it's a really great thing because left to my own, one of the things about me, I'm Italian. I grew up in an Italian family where we ate constantly all the time. Every meal was an event. You know what I mean?
You gotta eat. What are you doing?
Hey, get some noodles and boil them up, okay? But so left to my own devices, I would eat all the time. I love food. Like I'm a true foodie. So I have to really exercise discipline when it comes to sitting down, and especially if it's a pasta. I would rather eat a slab of lasagna than the biggest chunk of chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care anything about sweets.
Oh, I love sweets.
Yeah. Well, what's not to love, right? But if given the choice between a great Italian pasta meal and sweets.
Favorite Italian restaurant in Nashville?
Valentino's.
Oh, I've never been.
Old school on Hayes Street. Used to be on West End, and they moved. I've been going there 30 years.
Is there an OG in New York too, or no?
I don't think so. They're probably unrelated if they are.
Oh my God, you would love this. My actually CIA friend took me to his family's restaurant in Mulberry Street.
His family's restaurant. Nikos. I got a ton of places in New York that I love.
The best.
Oh, especially the places where they just bring the food out to you. They just keep bringing it out. It's the best.
It is.
It's making me hungry again, and I just had a meatball supper.
And then the Ozempic don't work too great.
I'm going to tell you something. I get off the Ozempic when I go to New York, okay?
Okay. Another thing I just want to start with, how can I help you with anything?
I don't think so. Is there something in particular you have in mind?
I just am trying to do...
You're trying to be of service.
I'm trying to do better customer service on the podcast. I've been watching them, and you know how, sometimes you go back and listen to an album and you're like, oh, we should have done that way. You know, it's been a learning curve because obviously I'm 1,000% doing everything. Audio, visual.
You're an engineer.
Everything.
Talent.
I put this together.
Yeah.
How do I do it all?
I love it. Is this your room?
No, it's not my room.
It's not?
No, it's Edge Hill Studios.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do they do in this room?
Actually, I'm going to take you on a tour after. I should have before. But there are a lot of songwriter sessions in here. They produce. They have a publishing arm.
I love that.
Yeah, they're building Hank Jr.'s restaurant on Broadway.
Okay.
And another, I always get afraid to say what the other one is. I feel like it's been in the news, but every time I do, they kind of say, oh, it's not out there. But there's another one from a New Jersey rocker that might be opening on Broadway.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows, but I'm going to be safe because I like getting this studio for free.
Bon Jovi's.
What?
Buongiorno.
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 Buongiorno. Have you been to Sinatra's yet?
I went on a date the other night.
What?
I know.
Stop
it, I know. It was great. Except
the date was not great.
No, the date was
the food was great.
The date was actually great.
You told me right before we went on that you did not care for him.
That is not true. One single bit.
I don't think
he's the one, but it was really lovely.
It was lovely.
It was lovely.
Good to see you back out there, playing the field again.
No thanks to you.
Oh.
But I will say I loved the vibe because of all my time in New York. Loved the vibe, loved everything. The bartender was kind of bragging about his old fashioned.
Okay.
It is truly the only old fashioned I'm never send anything back. I'm not that girl. I'm like, it's fine. It's alive, but I'll eat it. I will tear this apart. I will eat a dog biscuit. I think we've established that.
I think we have.
But I didn't send it back, but it was I don't think I've ever met an old fashioned I didn't like.
Well, and it wasn't good?
I wouldn't say it wasn't good. It wasn't my taste.
Right.
To me, an old fashioned is an old fashioned. And he was real proud of his different recipe, and it tasted mapley. What did he do?
I'd probably put a dash of Mrs. Butterworth in there. I don't know what he did.
I got a secret recipe.
That's how I make my old fashioned. A dash of Mrs. Butterworth.
That would be awesome. So, yes, I have been to Sinatra's. I did like it.
I liked it too.
All in all.
Yeah.
All in all. Let's talk about Generation Radio. You've got so much going on. I don't even know where to start with you. I don't know where to start with you.
I don't even know.
I don't know. But Generation Radio, I kind of love this idea.
Thank you.
Because 90s was a very good era to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
The 80s and the 90s were the best decades of music.
I believe that.
Yeah, I do too.
Because they were still pure.
Yeah.
Everything wasn't digitized, right?
Know. Yeah, I was a product of the 80s growing up, so I loved 80s rock and roll, and I loved hair metal bands and pop bands, and I mean, I loved it all. I loved everything from Duran Duran to Bon Jovi to Journey to Chicago to Night Ranger. I mean, I loved it all. And so...
Adamant. Remember Adamant?
Of course. Absolutely.
My sisters just went to see
David
Duran.
Bowie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love British rock.
Yeah.
I loved Nick Lowe, Elvis Costello.
Yeah.
That was the best decade, I think, for rock.
I think so, too.
Is that fair?
Yeah. I think I would agree with that 100%. And for me, growing up loving those bands and now being in a band with a lot of those heroes that I considered, idols when I was younger, it's so wonderful to be on stage. It's like I can't wipe the grin off of my face, because I'm standing beside Jason Scheff from Chicago, and then there's Dean Castronovo playing drums from Journey, and Steve Ferrone from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy store.
And I got to tell you, it slaps. I mean, it's a really
thanks.
good. Why are you calling me now?
Whoa! Yes.
And like that 80s piano vibe.
Yeah.
And then you're bringing the Rascal Flatts angelic kind of harmonies into it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It was fun to make that record with no restrictions. Yeah, I've made records for 20 plus years now of having to make sure it was country enough to get on country radio and fit inside this little box. Loved it, but it was great to go in and make an 80s sounding record unabashedly and pull up all of those old synth sounds and just kind of go at it,
Did you guys have a blast?
Yeah, it was so much fun because we made that record over the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We were all like, we were bored to tears. And I have a studio in the basement of my house, and I was like, why don't you guys come up? We social distanced, but we wore masks. No, we didn't wear masks. But we had such a blast making that record and all the time in the world to do it, so it was really fun.
And I tried to research this, but I feel like you never got to do the reunion tour.
The farewell tour.
Yeah. For Rascal Flatts.
Right.
But then what confused me is I read somewhere that you had done a show together March 7th in Jersey. Is that accurate?
That was the last show that we did together.
But that wasn't part of the tour.
That wasn't part of the tour. That was wrapping up what was already on the books from 2019. And we were going to start that summer on Life is a Highway farewell tour. And the pandemic hit. A week later after that show, we were all freaked out because we'd been in Canada and we wanted to get back over the border because we weren't sure if they were going to shut the borders. We had one more show in New Jersey, and we were like, we canceled the meet and greet. Every time they handed us a microphone, they wiped it down with a what do you call it? Antibacterial like wipe.
I'm sure I talked about that on the air.
Yeah, and
I mean not the wipe, but your show.
And we
where was it? Camden?
It was at the casino up there.
Oh, Atlantic City?
Yeah. And so we trucked out really quickly, made it back home when we were all relieved. Had no idea, and this makes me emotional talking about it for real. I had no idea it was the last time on stage with those guys. And it really, it was, now thinking about it, we were just happy to be home and worried about what implications the pandemic would have, not realizing that it would cancel our tour and for all intents and purposes split Rascal Flatts up for good. And so we never got to give it its proper goodbye and in the way that would honor what we'd built together. And I've always carried that, and I regret that, and I've carried a lot of pain because of the way that it ended. So it sucked. It sucked for everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of people lost a lot of things. But
do you think you'll ever do it? Get it together with them again to do a farewell tour?
Our divorce is final. It was final about a month ago, and
you're seeing other band members at Sinatra's.
We're seeing other band members at Sinatra's, and I've got to pay Gary child support. So
well, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair for him.
Yeah. So I never say never. Never. I love those guys still, and Joe Don and I stay in touch a lot more because our kids go to school together and are together a lot. So I see him a lot and stay in touch with him. And I hope Lord willing, we get a chance someday to give it the goodbye that the fans deserve too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel as badly for our fans as they feel about it having been canceled. A lot of times I'll get these rants on my social media. It's like, get the band back together and give us our farewell tour. Believe me, I feel the same frustration and the same anger about the way that it ended too. So I hope that we're able to give it a proper goodbye someday, or maybe not. Maybe it's not a goodbye. Maybe we appreciate it more than we ever have, and we go out those first few shows and we go, we're not as worn out as we thought we were, and we got a lot more left in the tank. So I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know what the future holds. I just know that it's very special to me, one of the biggest blessings in my life, and I want to honor it as such.
Well, I love that you genuinely did tear up, and that says a lot about who you are, who the band was, your legacy. No, you're pretty good.
Acting.
Have you done acting?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. You know that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Been in many TV shows.
Many TV shows.
Many B movies.
Look up my IMDb next time.
I was in Sharknado 4.
Kelly, were you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
With Ian, the guy from 90210.
Yeah,
Zerling, that's him.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, Ian. He likes to be called Ian.
Ion.
Do not call him Ian. Ian.
In a very difficult place right now.
Listen, Ian.
Stop it. Oh, I'm going to tell you that story later. Well, you are busy. It's not like you could be like, all right, guys, I'm going on tour, because now you're a big record label mogul with Red Street Records. And
yeah, I mean, I carved out enough space for myself to tour and still have an outlet to play music, because quite honestly, I'd be miserable if I couldn't play music.
I see that on your socials.
Yeah.
I can tell. It still means a lot to you, and I love that you're passing it on to your kids. That's amazing.
Thank you. I'm excited to find out who the father is of both of those kids.
I'm sure Allison will be excited too.
She's waiting with bated breath.
Yes, you scored way better than her. I don't need to say it.
Outkicked my coverage.
It's been said before. It has been said before. Before we get to the lineup at Red Street, I'm a big fan of Neon Union. You know that.
Yeah.
I want the subtext of the podcast is the Nashville truth. And that's different for everybody. And I've gotten such interesting answers about what your Nashville truth. It's a little bit about origin story. It's a little bit about like how the business works, and you have been on all sides of it, really, as a producer, as an artist, and now a label owner. So talk to me about your Nashville truth, Jay DeMarcus.
I think when you said that, the first thing that popped into my head, which is usually the right thing, is it's not for the faint of heart. You can't come here and hear a couple of no's and let it destroy your dream. You've got to be willing to roll with the punches, and you got to have thick skin, and you got to develop that really, really quickly. It is a tough business, and it's getting tougher every day to make a living in. And if you are a person that is really affected by bad news and by criticism, then you probably don't need to be in Nashville and trying to make it in the music business, because you'll get 1,000 no's before you get that one yes.
And you may never get the yes.
You may never get the yes, but that's not why you should be doing it to start with. I tell everybody all day long, if Rascal Flatts had never happened, I would still be playing music in bars somewhere, trying to play, because it's in my soul and it has to get out. So it doesn't matter where it is or how many people it'd be for. I'd still be making music some way, somehow.
And I think that speaks to everything you've done with producing, with you've kind of had your little tentacles and everything.
I have tentacles?
I was trying to think of
Wow.
Yeah.
You had your grubby little tentacles and everything.
You are taking Ozempic. Maybe it's not a foot. Maybe it's a tentacle.
Coming out of my neck. I love every aspect of the business. I am a rare breed as an artist, because I wanted to learn the business side while I was being an artist, and I probably drove my business manager and my manager crazy, because I had questions all the time. Why do we do this, and how does this work, and how do you amortize a tour throughout the year? If it costs X amount of dollars to rent trucks, how do you pay for all of those, and how do you pay for lighting systems, and how does it work together, and why would we spend that much money? I mean, all the time, like in their ear about Why do we have to spend that much money on a set? All kinds of annoying questions. But looking back now, I knew that it was preparing me for where I am right now, because I can more easily explain to newer artists what to expect and where their money goes and how it's spent and who takes a piece. It's easier for me to explain it having lived through it now.
Do you think artists today are asking more questions because of the state of the business?
I don't think they ask enough questions. I think we have a generation of people coming up that a lot of times, more often than not, feel like they have it all figured out and have all the answers. So I think they get a fast education really quickly that they don't know as much as they thought they did. And they'll have to circle back and go, this is completely different than what I thought it was going to be. Because you literally become the CEO of your own company when you're an artist and you're signed to a record deal. And that's the first conversation, is like, you're the boss of your company. And it would behoove you to know and to educate yourself and find out as much as you can about the business that you now own.
Is this the lecture you give to your new artists?
It's my new DVD series that's coming out.
Daddy?
Yeah.
Daddy.
Daddy DeMarcus.
You put the dad vice into it. So your artists, you've got Neon Union. I think what I've said in this podcast many times is probably getting old, is that you need a narrative. They have such a cool narrative. Yeah. They're so distinctive. And then you just signed Chris Lane.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
Chris, I've known him for a long time. He opened for us in 2016 when he was a brand new artist. I loved the heart of the person that Chris was. You won't meet a better human being. And when I watched from the side of the stage and I watched him perform, there's a guy that knows how to work a crowd and was already a seasoned veteran by the time he got on the road with us, because he'd been playing in bars in North Carolina for so long. And you can't teach some of those things. You have to have instincts of how to work a crowd and how to read a crowd and what kind of journey to take them on. And so I knew he was going to do great things. I really did. And we played golf a lot together. And when I found out he was coming out of his deal at Big Loud, I called him up and said, why don't you come over and chat with us?
Did you talk real loud?
No.
Listen, now that you're at a Big Loud.
Now that you're at a Big Loud, maybe you want to come over to Little Soft.
Yeah, Little Soft.
Little Soft.
Maybe not.
No.
That doesn't sound like a great.
No, it doesn't sound like a great label.
Big Loud's better, yeah.
And I said, why don't you come over and let's chat? And we met a few times. And his manager, Tom Lord, who I love dearly.
I love Tom Lord.
I've known him forever. He called me one day and he said, we've met with just about everybody in town, and Chris has options, but this feels like home to us. It feels like home to Chris. He has known you, he trusts you, and it's a unique position to have an artist as the head of a label that is really involved day to day. I didn't just start it and am absent. I'm there in the office every single day working it because I care about it. And so he signed with us, and it gave us something we hadn't had up to that point, which is an established platinum recording artist, and multi-platinum recording artist with multi-number one. So it sort of, I feel like, gave us a stamp of legitimacy when we were able to sign somebody like Chris, and couldn't be more thrilled to have him.
Did you say, what's your sign? What's your birthday? What's your wrist Bible tattoo verse say?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I do want to know what his wrist tattoo. Yeah. And then brand new, who I think is going to be a mega star.
Yeah.
With some marination.
Yeah.
Ryan Larkin.
I know.
I'm going to have him on the podcast, right?
My goodness.
You're going to get me an interview with him?
Yes. You will immediately fall in love with this kid. I've never met anybody I've been more drawn to after the first time of meeting him and spending time with him. He sang a few songs for us, and I almost wanted to tie him to the chair and not let him leave until he signed. I mean, this guy was so amazing, and he's such a gifted songwriter, but it sounds so cliche because I keep trying to find ways to describe him, but he's like too good to be true. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those people, you're around him, and when you leave, you want to be a better person immediately because he inspires you that way. It's like, this can't be real. Like, is this guy this nice? And so he's just, you're going to love him. He's one of a kind. He's got a wonderful, really deep baritone voice. I mean, he's a throwback to Don Williams and Randy Travis.
Oh, my God.
He's really great.
Don Williams, that's like that's a big...
I'm dating myself. I know,
yeah. I used to not even make references. Like, I don't care now. But I used to, because I'm like, You can run, but you can't hide, and it'll happen to you.
It will. It gets us all.
Be careful what you make fun of, because it'll happen to you.
It's coming for you.
It's coming for you.
It's Halloween, and it's coming for you.
Oh, yeah. Halloween's coming up. What are you got a costume?
I do. I don't want to say it.
Why not?
I mean, it's going to give the secret away.
I had epic costume. I had Halloween
I was
part
Elvis last year.
Elvis is perfect for you.
Yeah, it was great.
But now you're too skinny.
Last year I was perfect for it because it hit 30 pounds on me.
You got a peanut butter Danner sandwich?
This year I'm going to be Indiana Jones.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like you would be the family that does family costumes.
We did,
have you done that in the past?
We've done it in the past. We've been the superheroes, and we've been Star Wars characters and Disney characters.
I love that.
My wife loves to dress up as Cinderella. Still, she does. She still loves to dress up as Cinderella.
Well, enough about your bedroom antics.
Well, that's not what I meant. She's going to be mortified. She's going to go, oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Last week, can I tell you what mine were last weekend?
Yeah.
Part 1. This weekend, I'm going to be Little Red Riding Hood. Like naughty Little Red Riding Hood.
In the bedroom.
Yeah. Well, not in the bedroom.
You said, yeah.
Sinatra's. No, I was Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Killed that. And then
that's a great one.
I'm on a kickball team. And last minute, they were like, well, we want everybody to dress up. So I'm like, I'm not wearing the Bride of Frankenstein wig.
Yeah.
So I put my hat on backwards, my shirt on backwards, my shorts on backwards.
Yeah.
And I looked like a cowgirl because I had cowboy boots on, a big belt buckle, fringe.
Nice.
What do you think I was?
A backwards cowboy. Backwards.
Keep work through it. Workshop it, DeMarcus.
Backward ass. Reverse engineer. Reverse cowgirl.
Killed it.
I got it.
Killed it.
I got it.
Not for the kids.
Did they get it?
Well, I'm on a gay kickball team.
Oh, well.
So it was somewhat lost on everybody. Yeah. They're like, oh, you look so hot. I'm like, no, that's not it's supposed to be funny.
What is she doing?
Does she know? That's got to hurt. And it did. Yeah, so I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah. Bet you were. Oh, that's hilarious.
Let's go back to the Nashville truth before we wrap that up. I want your personal Nashville truth, which you don't have to go through the whole journey, but like how you did and, maneuvered what you were talking about earlier. And then the bands.
Yeah. I think my own Nashville truth was it was my greatest journey in my own faith and discovering that I had ever had in my adult life. I thought that, I had a lot of things figured out after college, and I moved to Nashville, and I got a record deal while I was in college. That all fell apart, and then all of a sudden I was like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I've got to get a real job now because I felt like I had my one shot with this Christian band I was in, East to West. Mm-hmm. That all fell apart. I wrote a book about it. It's on Amazon.com. It was on the bestsellers list for 2 hours.
I didn't put author on the list.
Yes. It's called Shotgun Angels.
Oh, I love it.
And it's about those people that come along in your life when you least expect it.
Dude, I'm such a big believer in this.
Me too. I have deep faith in my relationship with God. Jesus Christ is my Savior. But when you go through something life-altering like that, it can shake you to your core. So I had to really deconstruct everything I'd been taught growing up and really come to the fact that I believed what I believed because I believed it and not because I'd been taught it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't necessarily subscribe to every legalistic point of view that was kind of crammed down my throat by religion early on. So I had to rediscover myself and why I believed what DeMarcus believed. And that is my Nashville truth, is that journey helped mold who I am now and who was going to be prepared for something like Rascal Flats and something like Red Street. I needed to go through all of that to get to where I am now. Looking back, I see clearly why I had to experience it, but when you're in the middle of it, it's really
pretty
tough
hard
to see. Yeah.
I think I told this story before on here too, but when I moved to New York, I had a friend say, God put you right where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
My family's separated. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it is not just with retrospect that you see the value of that statement and how it does kind of, show itself over and over again.
Yeah. And how what marvels me are the people that God sends your way when you don't even realize that you needed them. You know what I mean? And there are certain examples in the book there that I give of people in instances in my life that I can now point to and go, I never would have made it from point A to point B without having that shotgun angel right alongside of me during that season of my life. Are
you seeing now as a leader, as a CEO, now that you have like employees looking up to you and artists, their future somewhat hinges on you, your decisions, your values, your principles. Are you seeing that you are a bit of a shotgun angel to people? I mean, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I don't want you to be like, yeah, I'm a big one, yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. I consider
I've saved a lot of lives.
The only thing I can tell you is I try to be. I try to be all that I can be to help our team members on our staff and our artists be the best that they can be. I'm not saying I get that right every single time, but I spend a few minutes in my office alone every morning reading my little devotional and saying a prayer for everybody in the building, for our artists, and more importantly for me, that I make the best decisions that I can make humanly possible with his guidance to make sure that I'm trying to always remember what is important. And at the end of the day, what the most important thing for me is that I honor him with my gifts and my talents, and that I pass on whatever I have to the artists that are looking to me to forge their futures for them. And that's what I concentrate most of my time and energy in doing.
And obviously, you realize that prayers will not help Alex Valentine.
No, I stopped praying for him a couple months in because I realized they weren't doing any good.
It's the general manager of Red Street Records. Yeah. I mean, at this point, we know it's just like a sympathy hire.
Right. It really is. And
bless.
Yes, bless his heart.
Bless his heart. Red Street did start as a Christian label.
We started in the fall of 2018 as a Christian label. Then, as we were getting up and rolling, the pandemic hit. So we went through a really, I'm paying everybody out of my pocket. The farewell tour gets canceled. And I'm like, oh, crap, what am I going to do? I'm spending all this money. I need a partner. So I contacted a dear friend of mine who I had seen at the Music City, what's the name of that bowl game? Music City. It was Music City Bowl.
Yeah.
Gosh, how can I forget that? Dan Crockett, whom I've known for 20 years, we were golfing buddies. He sold his company, which was Franklin American Mortgage. He's a Nashville native. We've been dear friends for a long time. And I ran into him at that bowl game, and he said, I'm retired and I'm a little bored. If you ever have anything fun sometime that you think we could do together, why don't you give me a shout? I'd like to do something with you. So I called him in the summer of 2020, and I said, I started this little label. Would you like to jump in? And not only did he jump in, but then we went for a year with the Christian label, started having some success, getting some traction there. And he said, how do we really turn this into something that we can go win with and compete with? And I said, well...
You said, my wish
for you is that you'll open up a country label too. And so he said, let's get in the country space. And he's been so supportive, so generous, and so gracious. It's the best partnership you could hope for.
Talk to me about Christian music, because I'm not an aficionado. I don't listen to a lot. You could pray for me too. But
Lord, please
help her
Kelly right now.
Talk to me about Christian artists, because I'm not into it.
I know you've heard of a bunch.
Yeah,
of
so tell me who's on the label that because I know you've had success. Yeah, you've won some Dove Awards.
We won one last Tuesday.
Oh,
yes,
congrats!
It's amazing. Jason Crabb.
Oh, I do know.
Is on our label. A kid named Cade Thompson is on our label. He's great. He's like 20 years old. I think he may be 21 now. wonderful, wonderful human being. We also have Consumed by Fire, the three brothers from Oklahoma.
I do know that.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're really great. They had a big hit last year with a song called First Things First. And then we have a young lady named Yvette Luna. Yvette. Yeah.
Is she from Barcelona?
No, she's from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, Yvette. All right, girl.
Yeah, and she's great. She had a hit last year, too. So our Christian music division is a little older, so we've been trucking along with that, and that's really thriving. And we've only really been in the country space up and running for about the past year and a half. So we're still just getting started. Of course, we have Chris. Neon Union is on their second single, and so far everything's trending in the right direction, but the music business is just a dogfight every day.
Well, and I love, though, that you really are a family. I think you take that approach to the label.
We do. I mean, I want the kind of culture where everybody feels like they can talk to everybody, and it's not siloed, and it's not sectioned off, and you don't feel like you can go to this department when you have something. We have a philosophy of, if you got a great idea, I don't care if you're the janitor. Like, speak into what we're doing. Help us look at things differently so that we can be pioneers and not just followers.
I love that. Before we wrap up, and we're going to wrap up with a Kelly's Quick Six, but I want to know what...
That sounds dirty.
It is. Tell me the question you're most afraid to answer.
Most afraid to answer. What are your flaws?
Oh, what are your flaws?
You don't have enough time. I see what you did, and I knew you were going to do it. And that's why I told you don't have enough time for me to sit here and tell you.
Let's do top 3 flaws.
I'm very impatient.
With people, with yourself?
I want things to happen faster than they do sometimes. Like, one of the great things Dan tells me all the time is, take a breath. It takes a minute. Because I want success yesterday. You know what I mean? And so...
But as an artist, he's better at that. He's a financial guy.
Yeah.
So he's like, it's just building blocks,
just
slow and steady wins the race. As creatives, we're like, nope, it's got to happen now.
No, it didn't. That didn't do what I thought it should do. And, and I'm really hard on myself. Really, really hard on myself. I think another flaw that can be considered not a flaw when you're trying to be a perfectionist, but I'm a control freak sometimes. I think if Joe Don and Gary were to sit in a room with you and say, what was the one thing about Jay that drove you crazy, they would probably say that he was constantly like trying to...
Meddling.
Yeah.
Meddling and stuff.
Put the show together, and they were good to let me do it, but I produced a lot of our records, so I was doing the grunt work a lot of the time, so it bled over into other areas of our business, so I think that a personality like mine who is a perfectionist and who loves, sees something and goes, if we do it like this, I think it's going to be the right way, can be troublesome sometimes.
You listen to other people, though.
I do.
I feel like you do.
I do when I feel like they know what they're doing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't mean that wasn't a slight to. That wasn't about Gary and Jodan.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I mean, if I have confidence in somebody that they're great at what they do and they offer an expertise that I don't have, listen to them all day long.
Yeah.
But if I know that I'm surrounded by people who have no clue what they're doing, I'm usually the first one in there trying to go, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and here's where we're going to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes, my wife would probably tell you, that probably drives her nuts sometimes. Yeah. She always looks at me. Well, she'll look at me sometimes and like, time out. I don't work for you, okay? I'm not a staff member. You can't tell me to just go do this and execute this.
I love her.
It's great because everybody needs that levity in their life. You know what I mean? So, and I've got a ton of flaws.
Okay, well, now it's not therapy. I said top 3.
I know, and I was in therapy this morning, actually. So I've already done
Before the meatball sandwich?
Yeah, 7:30 this morning.
Wow.
In therapy, yeah. So I've already cried my quota for the day, too.
You cried in here, too, though?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're a mush. You're a mush.
I want to tell you something. He's got a tough exterior, but he's got a soft underbelly.
He's an angel inside.
What
are you going to take away from your time here today J. DeMarcus?
Probably one of those mints that I saw right inside the door there.
Not something life lesson?
Yes. Should I?
Do I have to beg?
God, do I have to have a life lesson?
Yes.
I really appreciate the
I didn't
question.
mean to kick you.
I really appreciate the question that you asked me what my Nashville truth was, because I've never considered that before. And I think you should ask everybody that, because I'm sure you'll get a lot of different answers. But it was neat for me to be able to dig down there and find out what mine was. And I gave a wonderful answer.
You really did. And thank you for watching. I do ask everybody that, just
Yes.
FYI.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it on Hannah's interview.
Spotify.
Yeah.
She glossed over it a little.
She did.
We were two.
I love her, by the way.
I love her.
Her husband Nick and she and I write together, and they're just wonderful people.
She's an angel. I've known her since she was a kid.
Wonderful.
She's a Kentucky girl. All girls from Kentucky are amazing.
I like my wine country. Boots muddy.
All right, let's do this quick six thing.
Kids
You
fussy.
ready? Yeah, it is a good song.
It is.
I thought long and hard about this, J. DeMarcus.
Okay. Lay it on me.
One last story. I was trying to rent a car last week, saying your name like J. DeMarcus, because my daughter was in town. She was using my car, so I was trying to rent a car. And I reserved the Nissan Sentra. And about 10 minutes...
Fine automobile.
It was a fine auto.
Mm-hmm.
And about 10 minutes later, I get a call from the rental car company. I'm at lunch at work. I was like, Miss Ford, did you reserve a core? I go, I sure did. I just reserved a core. And he goes, I'm so sorry, but we do not have the Nissan Sentra core. What we do have for you is a box truck. I go, yeah, because they're comparable.
A box truck.
But this is how my mind works. I'm like, who can I move? Like,
oh, there you go.
I'm
Make
like,
a little cash while you got the
I go,
box
same
truck.
price?
Mm-hmm.
$99? He goes, yeah, we got that. I go, I don't know if that'll fit in the parking garage of my apartment building. You got anything else? Because I really do need a car. He goes, well, we got a van. We got a van that'll transport between 12 and 16 people. Needless to say, I borrowed a friend's core. I could have made money, though.
Yeah.
J. DeMarcus.
Why didn't you reserve a Ford?
They didn't have a Ford. They barely had a core.
A core, Ford. I want a Ford core.
Are you ready for this? I should have a sound effect with this, but I don't. Let's find one. It's time for Kelly's. I love that.
It's great.
It's a little loud. Kelly's Quick Six. Here we go. Bless the broken road or my wish?
Bless the broken road.
Oh, that's every wedding.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Half your height or double your weight?
Half my height. Same. Yeah.
I would represent the Lollipop Guild all day long.
Yeah, I don't think you can say this now. You're going to get canceled.
I can't? Okay.
Height challenged.
Suits or Succession?
Oh, Suits.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm on season 6.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is good.
Yeah. I think I still have to go with Succession, though.
Yeah. Well, I haven't watched that one as much, so it's not a fair comparison,
It really
I guess.
isn't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, go with Suits then. I like it. Chicago or Sticks?
Chicago.
I knew that.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, team player.
I do love some Dennis DeYoung, though. Babe, I'm leaving.
Is that 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay. Be the only person...
You can't count to 6.
Takes an extra hand.
Yeah.
Be the only person who speaks out of their butt or the only person who doesn't?
Doesn't speak at all?
Doesn't speak out of their butt. Everybody else is speaking out of their butts. You're the one guy who's like speaking out of your mouth. You have a choice. You're either like the guy speaking out of your butt.
I'm going to be the one that stands out. I'm going to be the one that doesn't speak out of my butt.
You don't want to speak out of your butt.
No, not at all.
There's not one part of that.
I don't. That makes me have goosebumps,
Right.
not in a good way.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up with a happy thought.
Okay.
Gary or Joe Don?
Oh, my God. Why would you ask me that? Mm-hmm. They're both going to watch this, and one of them's going to be upset.
Well, they can come on and defend their honor. I mean, you're related to Gary.
I know. I love him so much. I've spent a lifetime with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm as close
comes.
to Joe Don right now as I am Gary. So I've got to go with, I can't pick between the two of them.
You've got to pick.
No.
You've got to pick.
You can't make me do it.
That's not how this game works.
Then I'm disqualified. You got to DQ me.
I don't know how to stop that. Thank you, DeMarcus.
It's great to be here, and I'm going to go get in my core.
Get in your core and get out of here.
Thank you, everybody.